Yeah, bro. Thanks for being present. Thanks for taking time out of your day on this full moon. Trust everything's going well in California. Um, Seems like things have calmed down for the time being, right? I feel like everyone's kind of waiting for the next. Everyone's kind of in like zombie mode, like waiting for like the next thing to get mad about because George Floyd and BLM kind of died out right now. It's What do you think
Yeah,
about
like yeah, I mean, I guess the full moon doesn't really spread. I'm gonna make rest and digest it, I guess, for the next 14 days, and I don't know what it's gonna be. Maybe it was a good cycle, you know?
True, true, true.
And I mean, I don't know. Like it could be a good cycle. Like I guess you got the what's her name? The Maxwell lady got arrested. I don't know. It could be a suspicious situation. It could be a phony situation. I don't know, but she got arrested, so maybe that was just a good thing to cycle, and then maybe by the beginning of August we'll be going through a bad cycle. I don't know.
You know what's interesting is I don't know if you've heard about the QAnon and how they're supposedly working in tandem with Trump and like uprooting the deep state and the cabal. I don't know how much you subscribe to that thought, but that's basically what's going around right now. And they were claiming that July 4th there was supposed to be like a some big disclosure, but to me it looks like it's just far right, like wing, like conservatives more being like tossed around by this quote unquote um, I don't know, intelligence. But have you heard of the QAnon? What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I've heard it, and not the letter, right? Everybody, they wondering like if everybody got the indictments at the same time. It's like all the living presidents is there, Biden is there, Hillary's there because she's with Bill, and everybody there, they're all, and they all get that letter at the same time. It's like everybody's opening this letter, and then like everybody's pretty much like distraught kind of by the letter, and no one, only person that kept her face solid was Hillary. You know what I mean? Hillary a cold bitch. So she, I guess, she pretty much was like, whatever, we're taking in stride. I don't know. I mean, ultimately, yeah, they're pedophiles. Ultimately, I do feel like that it is like that makes sense for the enemy, not to say the enemies, but the evil, the people living backwards. I feel like it would make sense that they would be pedophiles. It would make sense that they would have sex with children and be homosexuals and things like that. I feel like all that type of stuff would, you know what I mean? And I know people don't want to link pedophilia with homosexuality, but it's not perpetuating creation. So it's like kind of like the what the placeholder for the opposite of creativity would be. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And I know a lot of gay people be like, "Well, I'm creative." I'm like, "Yeah, well, your parents had sex to make you, so you're just riding off that fuel." So I mean, ultimately, I definitely feel like the people that would be foul, the most foul of the world, and be running the world during the foul times. Yeah, it makes sense that they be pedophiles. I don't know if anything's gonna be done about it, but I think that they're definitely pedophiles, though.
Right, right. Yeah, I agree too. I just see it as like the everyone's holding like the best case scenario in their head. Like Trump is basically like the second coming is what they're making it sound like. And I'm like, it almost sounds too good to be true. Like all the stuff they're claiming that he's doing, rescuing these children from bunkers. I mean, I hope, every fiber of my being hopes that's true if is children down there and that these people are being uprooted. But it almost seems like they're trying to get us again, with the thinking Trump's just like this hero. Now I have nothing against Trump, but I just, he's being put up on a pedestal by like the QAnon crowd, and I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I'm very neutral with it, so I mean, we'll see. I mean, the only information we really get to figure out is the stuff that's disclosed to us, and then kind of get your little filtrations through alternate media. So it's kind of like we're just kind of sitting ducks, waiting to see what comes to light.
I mean, I guess ultimately, like it kind of makes sense, like, because, like, you know, like you said, you don't have anything against Trump, and that's the part where you're like, well, man, if I look at like the other side, it's easy to have something against the career politicians. You know, like
Yeah.
they've been in office for decades. This guy been in office for like 3.5 years. Like, if anybody really has been working against Trump, like, hello.
Hey, I lost you like the last 20 seconds.
I was saying, like, I think Trump likes children. And I feel like ultimately, man, like, you know, he's only been a politician for 3.5 years. Everybody else has been politicians for decades. They're career politicians. Like, if this thing is anybody's fault, it's his fault less than everybody else's as far as time spent. But I mean, like, it's a funny thing too when you think about like how we've been conditioned to be like, man, you know, the political system don't work. These things don't work. But I feel like it kind of would be funny if it was like, you know, finally at one point there's somebody high in the system that is with you, like, you know, in a I guess a Renaissance era, or an era where there's less separation and less againstness. I think, yeah, I guess we would, even if the government was totally with us right now, we still wouldn't trust them. Even if they were totally like, yo,
Yeah.
here's all the stuff and everything we've ever done, and whatever, we still be like, I don't know if I want to. God's been foul for so long.
So true. Is- I feel like another thing that's a problem with that is people are just like screaming, top of their lungs, like, no government, no government, people on the police, all this stuff. But it's like once that happens, there's been like no solutions really given or talked about to what people would put in place of that. It's like we've been
Yeah,
so dependent upon these systems and stuff. Like I don't think like the
yeah,
conscious community really has collectively gotten together about the solutions of like what to put in its place. Like, people that have, got control of their emotions, um, uh, are fasting. It kind of just naturally happens. But for the rest of the population, there has to be something like put back in its foundation. Um,
yeah. I mean, it's not like you got a population of people that's all like armed and really like, you know, Wild West and accurate and they could be their own police force. It's not like, you know, they grow their own food. So you definitely want some government regulating the growing of the food and the distribution of goods and stuff. Like, you need regulation, and that's until everybody's growing their own food and it's all permaculture and nobody, you know, and everything's just everything, you know, you would need some type of government, you know, until transform it gradually. But I feel like, yeah, people are not. That's what kind of makes you feel like it's definitely an agenda behind it, because they want to. It's like they want to systematically destroy the system, like the whole, like death by a thousand cuts, kind of like take away
oh
all the local government, you know,
yeah. Uh-huh.
because like if you can't just gut the feds right now, maybe, you know, Trump, maybe if Trump isn't bad, I mean, if he's not good, he's not the worst. So maybe they're not. He's just not. He's like not letting them gut the feds. So
Mm,
I don't know, because right now, you know, they're trying to gut these local departments, and it's a funny thing, spirituality and politics all being like not separate really, and like it's just wild. Like when you think about it, like how all the local governments are going to go into election. It's election year too for
uh-huh.
them too. All the municipalities and everything, all the mayors and the governors, they're all going through their election process too. So it's like you know, that would all change with the consciousness changing. And you know, I definitely feel like at some level though, it's like a delicate thing. You know, I don't want to tell people to vote, but I don't want to tell people not to,
Uh-huh.
because it's not my opinion. But I mean, it's not really my place. You know, it's just my opinion. But I feel like it's easier for spiritual, like if they got everybody to vote for Biden, I feel like then it's like a spiritual agreement that like you're gonna get fucked by globalism 10 times harder. I can't say it's difficult to find a negative thing about Trump as far as like the policy, you know what I mean? But as far as Biden, 44 years of him being around and everything that he stands for, that's not the way we want to go. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
that's not it right there.
You seen all his
So I don't.
bloopers too on YouTube? All his bloopers of
Uh,
like how he just goes dumb, like his brain just melts in like the middle of these interviews and
oh man, he's
just
seen.
bloopers.
That's the thing. That's the thing is like there's no way he'll finish a term. They're definitely trying to line it up to where he has a black female vice president or a female, because like Kamala Harris I think she's mixed or whatever, but I think that's what they're gunning for to get, because like, again, another person who's put a lot of black people behind bars, you know what I mean? Like as far as, what's happening in Oakland with her. So, I mean, collectively, nobody, if you had that as president and vice president on the bill, like they have put mad black people behind bars. And like it's like such a pacifying situation if like, because Biden's not going to finish the term. And I think that they'll just make her the president or whoever the vice president will come in and replace him. And then, I don't know, man. I feel like if it's a wild thing. If we get to elections, if that even happens,
Yeah. That's
and Biden wins, there's no way he's completing the term. And I don't think there'll be another election after that.
that's a good point because I mean, even for like even on that point, like that leads right after elections are done. We have December 21st. We got the 2020 disclosure, all the planets and moons aligning. For the first time in 6,000 years. So it's like, even if that does happen, it's like I don't think we get to see the end result necessarily of what happens. At least, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it might be just the beginning of something happening. I don't know. I don't know if it's just the beginning of a different consciousness season, or or both. I don't know, but yeah, we definitely got Trump till at least mid-January.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that's like, I guess that's maybe for sure, because you still don't know what's gonna happen if there's a situation, because it. September 9th, when Hillary got to testify, is gonna be something's gonna happen.
For
You know what
sure.
I mean? Because she got to testify, and 9/11 anniversary right there.
Mm,
I don't know. It's pretty ripe for an event.
it's true.
I don't know if we're gonna get out of this with George Floyd. I think the George Floyd cops are all gonna get acquitted, and
Mm,
that's gonna be crazy. And then I think something's gonna happen when Hillary has to testify, or that might be the same thing. They might do that at the same time. I don't know, but Minneapolis is totally controlled by the radical left, pretty much. So I wouldn't be surprised if they expedited that trial to fit a date that they have an agenda for.
yeah, and I think that'll be the boiling point for the riots if they
Yeah.
all get acquitted for sure. Um, bro,
Do you think black people are that dumb? That's where I'm at. I'm like, damn, they're really like being disrespectful. Like how much they playing black people, in my opinion. I feel like, man, now black people can't be this stupid. That's how I end up feeling. But then I always wonder, like, am I giving too much faith in man? No matter what color they are. It's
at,
like,
at this
I
point,
can't
that
tell.
may be because I mean, it seems like social media, like everyone kind of has like the same opinion, and they kind of just do. They definitely are sheep. We use that a lot, but yeah, they definitely are sheep at this point, being told what to believe. Like most people, the sum of their knowledge can be like explained by like a meme. Like they get a lot of their information and even like their motivation from memes, and that's like the sum of they don't really do much, maybe the first one or two Google searches about a topic, and then that's it. But they're basically being told what to believe by all their social media that they follow. I don't really think there's uh, many people tapped in.
Yeah, what do you use, man? Because I can't even use Google no more. It's disgusting. The search results, I can search blue, they're going to give me pink. They give me whatever they want to give me.
I really they got your
Like,
algorithm all messed up.
yeah, I mean, like if you search for some shit, they're gonna give you what they feel like giving you, and not what you searching for.
There's
So
a my
I
buddy put
use
me on.
Yippee,
There's a what do you use?
Yippee,
Yippee.
Yippy.
Oh, okay, I haven't heard of that. The one I was gonna say was it's called BitChute,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
BitChute.
yeah.
They got some good stuff on there. I can link it to you. But for the most part, it's basically just I'm connecting to some Telegram communities and WhatsApp, and then there's just links and stuff being passed around in there. And the conscious community, you're gonna get every side of a conspiracy, and then at that point, you
I
just
gotta make a bit shoot. I definitely gotta make a bit shoot.
oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, you got a lot of gems on your YouTube too. So like, I don't know if you got those
Yeah,
backed up
yeah.
somewhere, but it's about time to
I'm
put those,
yeah, it's
somewhere
time. It's
because
time, yeah, because YouTube is definitely cleaning house.
yeah, yeah. Even if you got like a Patreon, that'd be dope. Like, um, I bet you'd have a bunch of Patreons that would sign up. I know I definitely would.
Yeah, I gotta definitely get it off. I gotta get as much off. I gotta back up YouTube, but it might just wipe that bitch too. So I definitely gotta get uh, the Patreon. And if I have an Patreon account, but I gotta start uploading videos and then like make a BitChute account because this is just ridiculous at this point. The censorship, is ridiculous. I never thought that people would be like pro censorship. Like, isn't it crazy to think that somebody's like, oh yeah, I'm glad that they can, like, that gun is gonna get pointed in your direction eventually.
Uh-huh.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
They never
I
see
don't
the end
get what.
result.
Yeah, like they're trying to censor everybody, dummy. Don't you think? Don't you see that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never. This is bad though. This is like this. It's really wild watching America deal with its parasite. It's like this other, like, self-actualized doodle bob parasite that America created. That's like a copy of itself. So it's super strong and super like diabolical. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like this, like Scott's stepchild or something. I don't know. It's showing as evil as fuck. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
America, like I don't know. Like as far as like separation of powers in the Constitution, it's not really the worst ideas. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a tree of life type thing with the separation of powers and the different. It's not a democracy. It's a constitutional
Mhm.
republic. So like it makes sense. Like a lot of the Constitution makes sense. It needs to be tweaked for sure. We need to have another Declaration of Independence if we were gonna. If we have this election continues through and the country still exists, they need another Declaration of Independence because this parasite has been. It's a wild thing. Like it's its own organism. It's its own like version. Filled with doodle bob idiots that are like mimicked Americans. It's like
Yeah.
real Americans that know how to do things and are innovative and creative and shit. And then it's like this whole like parasite population, and they're just like drones that get turned on to things. And it's just crazy to see. It's I I don't think anybody thought the cancer was this deep.
Right.
We always knew the government was we knew the government was corrupt. But that's what makes you feel like, to me, makes me feel like there is a pedophile ring because why would you go this hard? You have to be compromised.
Uh-huh.
Like you're at a point where you're like, man, I have to take over the country. Like we have to do a coup d'etat. Like that's where you're at, where you're like, you're going for broke. We can't not do this. Like then if you're at that stage of desperation, then you have to be like, you have to be so compromised.
Yeah.
And I think that yeah, like that's pretty much what they said Epstein was doing. They said he was running rings of girls to compromise people on all levels of government.
Mm.
And boys and every little kids and all terrible shit, all types of horrible shit. But that's what I heard. They compromise people with shit like that, and then they got them politically for their entire lives.
Mm.
And it kind of makes sense, like when you think about like big portions of the country, like rioting and doing dumb shit all at the same time. It's like, wow, like y'all are really compromised area, like really cancerous areas.
Mm.
And I don't know, man.
If that
Shit
gets
all goes
uprooted,
hand in hand. Huh?
if that gets uprooted, I feel like with the technology, since we're pretty much headed towards a singularity with that eventually, do you see there being like a dualistic nature to that? So, you know, if everyone's gonna have their grid 3D with, you know, internet, and maybe everyone has like a chip in their hand or head or whatever, Neuralink. Um, do you think there's a flip side to that that's like directly opposed um, for, let's say, you know, the conscious people?
I mean, maybe we could, you know, I'm sure that there's people that are conscious that don't want to have be chipped. So, and there are people that are know how to make phones and things like that that don't want to be chipped. So I feel like there's enough population of people, of innovators, that could get together to make phones that could communicate through Wi-Fi's or like, you know, maybe dark web servers, and just stay on a more mechanical connection until we can all get on, you know, telepathy and really
Yeah,
connect in those ways, like or through dreams, you know, television and all that through the dreams. Like I feel like we could connect in those ways, but until everybody's in that space, that I think that it's got to be enough, especially as this divide is happening. Is we, you know, it's kind of like split in Germany. You know, we split the scientists up. I'm sure we're going to get some people that are like, look, I know, you know, that have some know-how, that know how to build phones or do the things you got to do, you know, to build infrastructure.
yeah, yeah. It's exciting, man, to see what's coming next. Hey, I wanted to like shift directions a little bit. Are you still on just like liquids? Are you in the breath?
Yeah, smoothies, juice. Um, yeah, smoothies and juice, man. I mean, a tea. I guess you can count that for always. You know, I'm probably always gonna have some herbal tea.
I mean, you
And
really. I'm gonna be posting this on some of my social media because I've been dark on there for a while, and then promoting it with my book too. But I really wanted to like put this in here. Like you're really like next level with this stuff. Like I've seen a lot of people on YouTube, like breatharians, and it seems more like, you know, they do it because they can. But like for you, it seemed like it was definitely like a calling. Like you took up the mantle and it was natural, and then like you're kind of just in this flow with it. Versus other people kind of do it like mechanically and are more like push through it and force themselves through it. And then for you, it just seems like you're just on a wave, just being pulled through it like effortlessly. And I'm just like, dude, how do you? I don't know. Like, how long have you been on just the liquids in the breath?
I mean, I had some food in February, but I had switched
It's
to
crazy.
not. I I switched not chewing from. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. Cut off
Okay.
for a
I
split
switched
second.
from
You
not
said you
chewing
were
on Black Friday 2018 till now. Um, I went like some change with just liquids, and then like into January, February, I had like a meal a week for like 4 or 5 weeks, and just it's not, it just didn't make sense. It made my knee swell every time I ate.
yeah. Do you think, well, I know what inspired you was probably like the 2020 disclosure back in like when it dropped in 2017, right? Or was it 2018?
17.
17. Do you think had that video not dropped, do you think you would be going you know, this extreme with the breath of the diet, or is it just kind of become natural? Like if there wasn't like
It's,
the
it's
December
like
20,
the thing at the same time.
what was that? I didn't catch
And
it.
it's like them things kind of happen at the same time. Like I started getting like my shit, and then I seen the Cosmic Egg part 1 and part 2. Because he made the digital version, Universal Disclosure in 2018, but he had the paper mache model in
Mm,
2017. It was the Cosmic Egg, and then he had invited Santos Bonacci on there to to confirm his work or whatever. He was, I guess he just so he had the two Cosmic Egg videos that I've seen. Then he had the one where he brought Santos in to show him his perspective, and then he came out with the Fantastic Four one. and that shit was like that joint. It blew my mind. I just felt like yeah, he just kept getting better, and then it came out the universal disclosure, and now it's just I don't know. It feels like totally like I can only imagine what he's feeling, but it feels like the alignment of it is all like it's kind of unspeakable. You really kind of just as different stage parts of the phases or whatever, different stages of this. I
Yeah.
definitely be like, man, this is crazy being correct about this. Like at some level, I don't want to be, or I don't really have an interest in being correct. It just feels like this is what's happening, and I'm just accepting it. Like I don't know exactly how this shit's gonna play out, how it's gonna look. I got ideas, but something's gonna happen. I feel, what I mean. It's just been too many alignments.
Yeah, I hear you. Do you do you think the pendulum will kind of swing back the other way, and that you'll kind of like break the fast and go towards more solid foods, or back to like just raw foods? Or do you think that it's just this is lifestyle now, like this is it, like it's easy for you? I think you're doing what, like 4 or 5 plus hours of breath work a day.
Yeah, yeah. I don't really have a day where I'm doing less than four. It's pretty standard five, but like, yeah, man, I don't. It just like I said, man, it just hurts, man, for the most part. So it's not even like it just hurts. Like my knee will swell, and I just feel like bloated, and like it just feels like obstruction all in my organs. Like my organs start swelling, and I just don't feel comfortable. Like I just don't feel like I can breathe really fully, and it just doesn't really make sense as far as like it's kind of the same way as when you quit alcohol. You're like, man, I gotta take me a day to recover or 2 days to recover. I'm never doing that again. Kind of how I feel about eating food. It's like, man, if I eat food, then it's this many days until I get back to having this kind of breathing.
Yeah, you kind of got to get used to being sick again, like kind of. So yeah, I see what you mean there.
And then the first session the next day is always so snotty.
Oh yeah. The lymph
Just be
system
super snotty.
moving all that stuff through, eyes watering a little bit. Know exactly
Yeah,
what you're talking about.
eh.
That's crazy though. Yeah, I haven't been able to. I've done 21 days. I've done 3 separate fasts that were around 21 days, and then I saw one of your YouTube videos. You were like 90 plus days, and then now, yeah, you blew it out the water. So I'm like, dude, that's crazy. And even to see like most breatharians, kind of lose like a lot of their, muscle density. They get really skinny, like bony. You're still pretty good size for having not like really ate food, since like February. So it's, but I don't think they're hitting that 4 or 5 hours though. So it's,
Yeah, yeah. People haven't cleansed the parasites. They're not doing the breath work. And then like I have lost like 50 pounds in the last 2 years. I'm like 170. I teeter between like 175, 177 now. And I was like 230 in 2018. Like when I was playing last time I was playing ball.
oh yeah,
So like I lost like 50 pounds, man. So it's like a little over, a little over 50, I guess. But yeah, I lost like 50 pounds, and I definitely feel like now I'm just gonna I'll probably gradually lose weight until I'm like Sebi, and I'll just be more comfortable with it as the days go on because I'll just be older and older and older. To where
yeah,
it's like I'm not here for you, like but you know what I mean? Like I think you just get comfortable with it. You just don't give a fuck. It's just about how you feel, and instead of I guess how people might think.
that's how Lila Africa seemed too. You know,
Yeah,
definitely towards
yeah.
his end.
At the end, you just be like, fuck it, man. I just want to feel the best I can feel today.
It was funny when I did a high dose of mushrooms before. That's kind of what I saw in that realm. Was a lot of the older people is the first people I saw, and like that next jump in dimension. It was kind of how you see like old people in their rocking chair on their front porch, like just chilling, like they're kind of in a trance, but they're kind of there, but they're not there. And that told me like that mushroom trip, I was like, okay, like this is where they'll be hanging out, or they're kind of unknowingly in a meditation, and some of them consciously. But I'd imagine that's what like Africa and Dr. Sabi, are are doing, at that age.
Yeah, I think if you just like really have peace with your life and everything, and you're taking full breaths, your body isn't as gunked up, like you probably just feel really, really content with things. I don't know, but it's crazy when I think about like shrooms. Like shrooms is kind of like a relationship in itself. Even weed, I guess it's all like a relationship. Kind of like its own relationship. And like I feel like shrooms is. I wonder when there's like a point in my life where I'll just be like, yeah, I'll never do that ever again. Like, and I feel like shrooms and DMT are one of them things that I just like, I don't know. I'm definitely not going to make a habit of doing these things, but I don't think I'm ever going to be like, never again. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, it's just.
Something about the thrill, like being on a roller coaster. Like, yeah, I'm not doing that shit. But there's something appealing about that energy behind it that calls you back to it. And then, you take it and you're like, yeah, I shouldn't have done this. You're like, I'm in too deep now. And you're
Yeah.
just the observer at that point.
Yeah, you just go back to that place that you can't remember unless you're in it.
Uh,
It's like
uh,
it's
yeah.
it's like its own place, the shrooms place. You know what I mean? I mean, they're all, I guess, going back to that observer place. But I feel like since it's on the drugs or on the chemicals, it's like its own room. Like it's like a private room in a strip club. Like it's not. There's still this. You're used to the strip club, but this is the
Yeah.
private room.
Dude, something I noticed I was able to do recently that I hadn't really figured out before, realized before with the mushrooms is using the psychedelics as like a reference point for like breath work. Because like breath work, I'd be able to like, it deepens you so much. It just deepens you like mentally, spiritually. And so
Yeah.
you can go back down those tunnels like if you get to a certain space in breath work after about 30, 40 minutes, if that's like your intention.
Yeah.
You could definitely travel back down. And I thought that was crazy. I'm like, man, this is, if people knew about this is low key, like, this is like a power. Honestly, it sounds like a power. Like if that's something you can
Yeah.
do, like it's pretty, insane what we can do with our minds and the consciousness. So I thought that was pretty
Yeah.
crazy because I found that out organically, and I hadn't really heard anyone talk about that yet.
I think it's like just like you make yourself with the breath. When you align with the breath, you make yourself emotionally available for yourself, and then it's kind of like certain feelings. Since you're like welcoming yourself to feeling them again, all the memories that are associated with that feeling can now be, I guess, explored and released and everything. It's kind of the same way like when you smell something and it reminds you of stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's like a memory gets sparked because of this chemical reminder, this alchemical reminder or whatever, this smell.
Mm.
And then it's like the same thing with the breathing, like you're doing the breath work, and then it's like it's feeling though. It's all feeling. Smell itself is still feeling. Olfactory sense is still, you're still feeling. Like something is hitting your nose and your nose is feeling it, and then you just get this translation of feeling in the smell. But it's still feeling. It's still, that's the only real sense. So it's like when you're doing breath work, you're feeling feelings that you have not, might have buried or whatever because you buried a memory, and it's like yeah, you get, it's like smelling a smell you ain't smelled in a minute, and you feeling that feeling, and then it's the same thing, it's the same thing, like
That's a good way.
smelling your grandma's purse, something.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to listen to that part again what you just said because yeah, I was nail on the head. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it feels like, and it's weird. It's much more vivid with the breath work if you're able to have patience. It seems like it only really shows itself if you're patient enough and do like the like I did that one regimen that you sent me, like the seven, using all the sevens through one nostril, the other nostril, and then only then, like, and all the breath work I've done, I've never been able to get like to where I've had those little like flashes kind of in my mind's eye, and these things come up, and but me be able to see them. Usually I've just been able to feel them, but now I was able to see them and with the feelings, and I was like, it kind of surprised me, and I was like, wow, like it probably took me like an hour, 15 minutes to finally get to that point. Uh, but I've never like before been able to do that off of like breath work exercises that Wim Hof teaches that what is it called holotropic breath work, which, like, I don't, I know we talked about this before, but, any type of breath work's beneficial, but if you're really trying to do like what they call shadow work, you definitely got to do, the slow breaths and be able to sit down with yourself. But yeah, thank
Yeah.
you again for that exercise, because that's really where I was able to see the potential of breath work and kind of like the step-by-step process of how I had to get there to really start unfolding some stuff.
Yeah, like it really is. I guess you just forces you to be more patient with yourself, and as that patience grows, it's like being your own parent, and then you kind of can look at things from a detached place. I feel like, but people that's just like in it for the psychedelic effects, as far as breath work,
Uh,
then I think that yeah, like they're handcuffing themselves because they could experience so much more. You don't have, it's just you don't have to let that go. But if you do the other ones, it's just so much deeper.
yeah, I've been exploring like how I wanted to ask you. I know I asked you before, but kind of with the astral realm and like the terminology behind that, what it means for you. But if you gain, like I'd imagine, like where you're at, do you gain consciousness like while you're in that state, and then does it become more like you're controlling it, or I've noticed the dreams and stuff become like more vivid, but I'm still in that observer standpoint. And I'm trying to understand like would I want to have control of my dream, or am I supposed to be the observer of my dream because my subconscious or you know is trying to show me something.
Yeah, I mean, it's really a wild thing, man. Like uh, the identifications will throw off the dream a lot. If
Mm-hmm.
it's really just the identifications, man. Like the more that you reach for power, the more that you lose power. Or you never have enough of it because you're reaching for it. So it's really just about aligning with the power that's already present there. Already being present with the moment and everything. And the more you're gonna do that through the breath or whatever, however you're doing that, through the breath. But the more that you're doing that, you're definitely losing the identification with being a body. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
that can't that's too heavy of a definition to carry back and forth from I guess the netters, the less dense realms or whatever, the astrals. Like it's just too heavy to carry that identification. That identification can't come with you. So the more that you stay in that identification, the other parts of you that are experiencing other experiences that are only possible without that identification, the more like you're basically blocking yourself to that. Like I find this whenever I'm deep in the breath sessions, I no longer feel like I'm breathing. I feel like I'm being breathed. I feel like it's just alignment. Like my body's movements have clicked into the alignment. It's like being on a roller coaster and just accepting like the body is just part of this overall organism or machine. It's like, I can align with this universal will and like it'll take me ultimately where I want to go. I don't have to it's not like I can know in a sense because knowing kind of spoils the mystery and like the, the the energy of things. And so like
Yeah.
it's it's really just like the alignment. That's all I can say. Like the alignment destroys the identifications,
Mm.
and then it's when as far as like waking up in a dream or whatever you want to call that, like it's more easy because you don't you're not going into your like if you go to sleep and you have like things that are like on repeat in your mind and then constantly looping thoughts, then like you're going into the delta wave state and the dream state, the REM state with that overtone, on loop behind, you know what I mean? That's just part of that identity and it's just like bleeding into the dream. So then the dream that you're in is like you can only see the dream, you can only observe it from that level of identity. And holding on to that level of identity, you might not even be able to get a visual. you know, like think about it, like if you were in a dream or in a parallel life and you're in another body, but you're not in the eyes. You can't see anything that the eyes are seeing. You're like in a lower part of the being. And like, you just don't get that part. That's not part of the reception based on your identity. You're holding on to an identity so much that it's not allowing you to be and being that because you're carrying over identity. So when you do that, like you're waking up in this other dream from that level of identity, and it might be like the elbow level or something. So then like you experience the dream still, but maybe you don't have any visuals to align that are with it because the alignment's off. So then like you might have like felt those feelings that are associated with those dreams. You might have heard things, but you just don't have the visual, or you have the visual and you ain't hear anything.
Mm.
Like it's just that reception is off, and it's like it's just got everything to do with the identity, and like different breath patterns is going to give you a different identity.
Mm-hmm.
And so that for as far as the astrals is going, I feel like it's just aligning with that identity of having no identity and like and then you're able to be like liberated of this personal identity, and then you can like kind of use this body as a server to store experiences and like have remote experiences and like continue to like bring that information, that light, that energy back to this body and restore it completely, and then it just be a server, you know what I mean? So then you just the servant, it's this, you know, you the slave and the master at that point, instead of like all these obstructions between the slave and the master.
Mm. Man, well said. What do you take me through like a night, like your nightly regimen? What kind of breathing pattern do you get into like right before you sleep?
Well, like I'm on my shit because every breath, like every breath work hour has like a opposite hour. So like if I get up at like sunrise and really have a good session and be patient with the session, then my sunset session will be, it will match that, and everything will, you know, kind of ripple off of that. So it's kind of just like if I really am on my shit and I wake up and I'm not like at war with myself less and less, and I'm doing the breath sessions and I'm less impatient, and I can get to a 6 or 7 breath session day, then going to sleep is so welcomed at that point. Like, you know, the 3 or 4 hours that I'm going to go to sleep,
Mm.
it's, you know, my body's in such a relaxed state. And then I usually just, I'll say the 11 laws and then just do one breath per minute while I'm laying down on my back until I go to sleep. That's usually how I do it, you know. And the way I've been doing it is for me to get 5 sessions, I usually get up and do one at 6 a.m. So from 6 to 7, I'll do one. And then I'll probably do another one from like 9 to 10. And then another one from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Then another one from 4:30 to 5:30.
Mm.
And then my last one would be uh, what I've been typically doing. My last one at sunset recently would be at around 7 o'clock. So from 7 to 8. Then I'll go to sleep at like 9 and get up at 12 and then try to get a session in. That'd be like to me, that'd be like the ideal. When I'm really firing, I feel like that's more like my ideal. Go to sleep at 9, wake up at 12, and then get a session in, and that'll keep me awake till like 3 or 4 and get another session in. And then I can build into where I'm at like 8 in a day. So I feel like it's just this gradual like increase, like just like taking advantage of kind of talking myself into it whenever I can, like whether it just be like, okay, I can at least do a half hour now. And then once I get 30 minutes in, I'm like, all right, well, I'll do another half hour. And so,
Feels so good, right?
yeah, you know, and I ain't got nothing to do really. So I just be just doing that, man. I just pretty much just doing that and making the most of the moments.
Man, it's
So
incredible.
situation for me before I want to sleep. I like to sleep between like 9 and midnight. If I'm off, then it's like 10 and 1. If I'm really off, then it's like 12 to 3.
Man, you really got me, and the people listening to this, I guarantee, got us feeling like we're sitting on the bench right now. Like it's pretty crazy to know that,
I, I don't know. I mean, I've just been working to be off grid for so long, and I feel like I've reached that point now where I don't have anything to do in my day the same as other people. Like other people got other things they got to do, and they're thinking about doing those things.
yeah,
So that's an exhausting thing in itself. And
yes,
then like they're like moving around their energy already before the day even happens. Like I got to get up and do this and wake up and do this and sleep. And so like I'm just more so like I kind of got a lot of things squared away, and I'm living in the middle of nowhere, so it's like no interruption. So like all day is pretty much just like why not? Why can't I just do a breath study? Like really like I have like there's no way I can like bullshit myself. You know what I mean? Like it's
right,
constantly like I don't have anything else on the agenda but that, and then that always just brings more contentment and more receptivity, more people contact me and everything. And I
uh,
feel like yeah, like it's just the positioning, man. Like I feel like once you get positioned in it, then it takes off on its own. Because like
mm,
I've been just trying to be off grid for so long, man. I've been off grid for like almost 10 years now, like getting the place together. And now the place is like really in a place where I'm like, all right, I kind of don't have to do nothing all day, but like water plants and like read books. So I can just sit in the sun and do this, you know. And other people just have a lot of other things that they have before breath.
man. Yeah, you're really just like a huge magnet, to be honest. I mean, that's what even when I heard you on Mark Kenny's the little podcast, I was like, I mean, you could tell like the full spectrum of what someone knows based off their voice, even on, kind of online. And so when you came in with the breath, because that's something I also teach people, I was like, this dude not only like spitting facts, like he said a lot more stuff that I hadn't heard before with the breath. And also just like the power with your voice, I was like, yeah. And then that's when I went and followed you on like all the social media. I was like, I gotta learn about this dude, what he knows. And then yeah, it was just like pure magnetism versus, just stumbling upon someone on like YouTube, how most people do, most teachers, uh you could definitely feel like the like magnetic energy around you. And I could definitely see for how much breath work you do, it makes sense because, everything just like you reverse your torsion field, like, everything kind of just like you're going out and then everything's kind of just coming to you as you're just resting, It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's wild, man. Thank you. It's really it is true though, man, the way you say things. Like it's much more difficult to put your whole body behind words that are a lie.
Hmm.
You know, like somebody talking with their whole. That's why I like Bobby Hemmett. I mean, even though he's an obese person, I feel like he's using most of his body to speak, and that's why it's a lot of truth in it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, what I mean, when you're being like nasally and like, like just not fully using your whole body to talk, then it's kind of like, I feel like that's when you start to hear people lie more when their posture is bad and they're not using their whole body. Then I'm
Uh-huh.
starting to question what they got to say. It's, it's a lot harder to lie with your whole body.
I mean, you're just empathic at that point too, like that cleaned out. Like it's like an instant download. It's like hard. It's so hard to step this down. Like it's easy to talk to you about it, but it's so hard to step this down for people. Like, and how high maintenance this type of lifestyle becomes because it's just like, you can't have people that are lying around you. Like they can't be around you. Like the harmonics aren't there. You're not gonna want to sow seeds into them because it's like wasting, all this like knowledge, like to put into something that's
Yeah.
it's gonna be dwindled away. All
Like
right,
scratching the chalkboard, even feeling that shit around you.
exactly. So, man, I can see why you're over in the mountains.
Yeah, and you want to share that life with people, but it's like it's just such a delicate place because you're like, man, I need to meet you here. I can't meet you at another place because then it's like a compromised position. Like if we meet at this place, then it's different. You know what I mean? Like if you meet somebody at happiness or at evolving, it is a contentment or whatever. Then it's just a different place than like if I meet somebody and then I train them how to be at this place,
Yeah.
it's different. And so I just be like, damn, who can you really share this with? Because people like, a lot of people just don't want to learn in front of you. They don't even got nothing to do with anything but that. They just don't want to learn in front of you. So they'll learn from somebody else, or they'll learn in the shadows, but they don't want to learn in front of you.
Oh man.
So like, or you know what I mean, or like,
Yeah.
or you know what I mean, or people like once they do learn so much in front of you, they feel vulnerable, and then they feel like you have dominion over their life. So then they kind of want to save face and like sabotage. So it's like a crazy like situation where like people gotta kind of learn and come to things on their own, and like you see in the process so many times, you're like, man, I know where you're at with it. I know that, you know what I mean? Based on where we're meeting at this point, you'll be at XYZ by the time I'm at XYZ. And then it's just all about alignment. And it's not, if we're not at that space, like it's not cohesive. And then like somebody's carrying somebody and like,
Oh yeah.
and then it always balances out though. You know what I mean? Like if I have to carry you this way, then I have to accept you carrying me some other way because we don't match. So now that we're doing this, there's gonna be some of this returning somehow where I got to get carried by you now in some form or fashion in this life, and
Oh
it's just
man.
bullshit. Like you know what I mean? Like I don't feel like doing that. Like I don't know. Like if I'm with some chick that like is it she want to learn and I taught her all these things and she know the breath, but she's still aligned with I guess what you call a fast-paced lifestyle and the flashy life and everything. And so for me to go into these places and these rooms and these places where she feels comfortable and she wants me to be, that I don't really care about being, she's gonna have to carry me into them places and it's gonna feel like weight. The same way it feels like weight, me even like holding somebody's hand. So
Yeah.
it's like people need to stop lying like it's all not a two-way street. Like soon as I start carrying you, you're gonna have to carry me, and then I'm like, fuck this.
Yeah.
like it's just can't do it no more.
Wow, I never even really heard it from that perspective. The second part you said, that was nail on the head. And what's even worse about that is like they like when they're carrying you, like they think there's still separation at some level. So they don't know that but but like you feel it for both of you. So
Yeah, yeah, and then they try to like then people that really have that kind of alignment mentally, like with tangible things as being greater, then they feel like they're doing more for you than you're doing for them, and then then that amplifies. Then y'all both start feeling that way. Like I'm doing way more for you because this matters more, and they feel like this matters more because you can navigate the matrix better. So then it's like y'all both start feeling the same way because it's just universal principle. But you know what I mean? It's like such a joke, and I just feel like why even engage in this? Because if we always gonna teach each other, but if it's like all this hand holding on either side, if it's like heavy hand holding, then it's just too. It's not like an even hand holding. It's like you pulling your daughter or something, or she pulling her son, and like you can't. You only gonna build resentment, like you know what I mean. And then as far as friends, people got to be on the same page. I mean,
yeah.
friends is hard to come by. It's
Oh
just
yeah.
like if you can find a friend right now, you are really a blessed person.
Mm,
You're
dude.
a blessed soul.
Yeah. For sure. And to even add to that, like people think they want to be spoon fed, and that's kind of what how the reality's set up, but they don't realize like how damaging that is to both people. Like everyone wants everything like instantly these days, and
Yeah, and it's damaging to get it that way, like you said.
no one dreams big. Like you were saying, like these girls, they're so like identified with like the physical things, material things, and it's just like that like Instagram, like that's what their dreams are. Like to be like these Instagram girls, and it's like they don't want to admit it. And yeah, the friends thing too. It's just sad.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a joke. Yeah, like if you can have some friends right now at this point in your life, man, I feel like you understand that. I guess that 30 and up. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Having friends even late 20s, having friends, like that's something you gotta just really, you can't really expect to have friends. And if you do come across them, I think you kind of like, you gotta meet friends where you can. You know, I got a lot of friends that's, we, you know, like if it's a mechanic dude, I know he's not gonna eat the way I eat. So I
Right.
don't expect it, you know what I mean? I don't expect it, but then like if he wants to get something from me or learn something from me or borrow a tool, then I still be friends with him. You know, I don't judge
Uh-huh.
that. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, and he can help me with something, and like, you know, just it's like appropriation more so. I think it's just all about appropriation. Like everything got to be arranged right, and then it's fine.
Yeah. It's such a hard task to tell people something if they're not ready. That's something I had to learn the hard way because, I was trying to do like that. I heard you say this before about the nurturing or the ego nurturer. And I was like, man, that's what I was trying to do when I first came into this because, it just feels like that's what you're supposed to do, right? But I was realizing like, man, if I like dismantled someone's, way of thinking, that I had the responsibility of really building them back up and putting a foundation there for them. And at that point, now I'm off my center because I have to, hold this person's hand. So I had to learn how to meet people where they're at versus before it was kind of like, I'm trying to go make followers at that point, but I realized what place I was coming from, through like breath work and stuff, and so all that switched, and then starting to get into that magnetism now versus that electric mind state where I'm really just uh self-sabotaging myself. So good place to be.
Yeah, yeah, really. You know, it's you know, everybody got to really kind of go through the processes and recalibrate, and then like come out on the other side, and then like recalibrate, and then it's just like a huge process of everybody doing that, really.
uh just the people that are not breathing or eating right, they're just doing it on more like extreme levels, and it's affecting more people around them.
Yeah, no, exactly. You know, you're messing with the universal breath. Now you got to breathe for them. It's just, you know, we all doing it though. It's like if somebody was, you know, the money's getting spent. It's like somebody, you know, energy's responsibility is getting given up. So we, you know, you just breathing it up and doing the conscious breath work for everybody else, and you're just like, all right, well, I'll be the conscious creator observer since nobody wants to do it. All right, fine. And then you just keep the, you know, everything gets tilted your way. The more you do it, you know, the more you're really about it. But yeah,
Holding the ultimate space.
yeah, the not space.
Yo, I gotta get that Breath of Peace book that you and your sister wrote. I just seen her promoted it on the story. And I was like, man, I gotta reach out and go get that book. But does a lot of your inspiration come like right after you hit one of these breath sessions? I already know you got like 100 books already or
Yeah,
PDF.
during I mean, yeah, like usually like the terrible thing, man. Like 6 minutes into a breath session, I'd be getting crazy ideas, and I'm like, damn, I want to stop and just write shit, but I want to finish this and like fully nurture this thought and like water it fully to where, you know what I mean? I can, because I don't. Sometimes if I just stop and start writing, then it doesn't fully like get to its full place where it could, you know, fully crest. And then like,
Mm,
but if I sit there and like I for an hour do breath work and like kind of like let that grow and build, then like I just refine it, make it better. Like just, you know.
that's a good point. I would usually stop mine, and I mean you just told me some advice right there. Um, but yeah, that makes sense. I would notice how sometimes I would even lose it. Um, like if I stopped and I went into making something or like writing something, that I would kind of lose the inspiration for it. I'm like, sometimes I think, man, should I have like breathed more before I fully like, just took on this manifestation? But you kind of just confirmed to me that that's um, what's going on.
Yeah, it is the basically the universal solvent, I guess. I know some people call water the universal solvent, but I feel like water is just dense air. So yeah, I
Hmm.
feel like it definitely washes everything away, the breath. Now I'm about to go into somewhere where I need to put a mask on, man. So I don't know if anything else that you wanted to say, or you want to save it for another one.
Yeah, we could save it for another one. Watch out for all the energy. I just went into a store. And I didn't have a mask on. They didn't require it, but dude, the looks you get, I'm like, if you don't have a mask on, it's like people are like damn near crucifying you with their eyes. It's hilarious.
It's
And
just stupid, man. Like I need a mask to go in Lowe's.
yeah,
Like why do I need a mask to go in Lowe's? It's like
right.
the most open air place. It's like outside.
This,
Uh,
this lady flinched when I walked into a gas station without one. Like she flinched and she like jumped back. She's like, "Sir, you need a mask." And I was like, "Why'd you flinch?" Like,
yeah, like you can't. Like everybody's a criminal. Everybody's a suspect. That's what this shit is about.
I was like, "Oh, it got you pretty good."
Yeah,
Man, I just see that as, I mean, you could really, I come out of there like energized because it's like those looks that I get, kind of just being really, really empathic and feeling into it, realizing that there's no separation. I mean, you kind of just like pull in that energy, like that negative stuff coming at you. And it's just like, you come out of there like, oh, wow, I actually have a lot of energy. You just enjoy the transmuting at that point.
yeah. It don't stick to you. Like you ain't got a bunch of stuff
Yeah.
just gunking you up, holding on to that stuff.
But yeah, man, I'll let you get to it. And yeah, we definitely got to connect again. This was a good build. And decided to post this to people I know.
Word, yeah, man. Shoot me the link, man.
All right. I got you.
All right, bro. Be easy, man.
All right. See you.